The basic problem here is we are looking at a constant product market maker. X is the amount of token X, Y is the amount of token Y, and we're always going to have X times Y is equal to some constant. If we have a new amount because we traded something in, and these changes, well, it's still going to be the case that the new amounts multiply together to be this constant. We can take this new amount, can decompose it into whatever the old amount was plus whatever the change was for each of the two variables. We end up with this as our new equation. What we'd want to solve for here is the delta y variable in this particular case. Now there are actually two ways you can do it, and either way the goal is just to isolate delta y. What I notice here is that this k is also equal to this original x times y. So I'm going to sub that in here and get x plus delta x times y plus delta y is equal to x times y.
How do you get from where the values change to this?
So
why is it not a constant anymore? Why is it x times?
It is a constant. It is the exact same number. What we know from this original equation that we started with is that this number was equal to x times y. Substituting that x times y in here. That's a good thing to emphasize. Thanks for mentioning.
Okay, got you.
We're going to distribute this through. Take this x, multiply it by the y, and times the delta y. And when we start distributing through, this first one gives me x times y, and then I do x times delta x times y, which I'm going to write the y first, just make it look nicer, plus delta x times delta y. And that's distributing through, and that gives me equals to x times y. So I want to isolate this delta y, so I'm going to try to do anything I can that gets delta y by itself on this side. So I'm going to subtract xy from this side, and if I do that, I also have to subtract xy from this side. xy minus xy is equal to 0, just like 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. And then I have the same thing over here. xy minus xy is equal to 0. All I'm left with on this side is 0, and then this zeroes out. So I have x times delta y plus y times delta x plus delta x delta y is equal to 0. Since my goal is to get delta y by itself, I'm going to subtract y delta x from both sides, so that cancels, and I have x delta y plus delta x delta y is equal to negative y delta x.
Okay.
Now, my goal still is to isolate this delta y, and so what I can do is factor it out. And so if you have the same thing here and here, you can kind of undistribute it. This is the same as delta y times x plus delta x. I'm taking this delta y that's in common to both and pulling it out front. And then now the only thing we have left to do is we can divide it by what is being multiplied here. So we're going to divide both sides by x plus delta x. And when we divide, that cancels this and leaves us with just the delta y that we wanted. So that's probably worth writing out. Factor out the delta y. And then we cancel. The final step is what happens after I've canceled that. And now I've just got what I wanted, which was the solution to delta y in terms of the other variables that are floating around for me to plug in. So one solution you could have would be that your final answer was delta y equal to this. And that's the process you would use to get to it.
So there's no more that can be done? This is the final answer?
This is actually what we wanted. We would have to know the other three pieces of information in order to get this. If we didn't know the original x or the original y or how much token x was changing, we would not be able to calculate how much token y was changing. There's an alternative solution method.
Okay. In the alternative way, you still know the three, x, delta x, and y?
We should think about our goal. We should know x, y, and delta x, and then from that, we want to be able to compute what the delta y would be.
Okay.
So we're still going to start out with our old equation being x times y equals k, and then our new equation being x plus the change in x times y plus the change in y is equal to that same constant k. And then I'm going to follow the same process where I'm going to replace this k with this x times y to the next step being x plus delta x is equal to y plus delta y is equal to x times y. And my goal is still the same, to find the delta y. But I didn't have to distribute. Since this delta y is by itself, I could have just divided both sides by x plus delta x. And then when I do that, that isolates the y plus delta y. Cancel that, and then I have y plus delta y is equal to xy over x plus delta x.
Okay, so you're saving a whole step. That's nice.
Yeah, and then I can subtract y from both sides because that's all I have left to get to. And so I'm going to subtract y on both sides, and the y minus y is 0, which cancels. So then the alternative formula I could have come up with is delta y is xy, x plus delta x minus y. And either way will work. They should be equivalent.